Good evening.
Are you well?
Not bad yourself.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, good. Just fine. Can't believe another week's gone already.
I know. And I was just saying on your show this morning, you're on to day 8 already.
Day 8, series 2. I'm calling it day 8. Whoever would have thought after 150 days there at the last time you'd have to start again? Eh?
Well, hope it's not.
Good evening, Joe. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there. Very good evening to everyone. Here we are again. Tartan Tunes, Scottish Sessions, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. For our one viewer on Twitch. Yeah. Anyway, folks, listen. I hope you're having a safe time out there and doing all right. Hello, Liam. There's Liam up in the Piper up in Lerwick. Liam's with now. He would keep you right, but he was in the army. What do they call it? The cadets up here, I think, with the pipe band. Okay. Good. So anyway, there we are. Hello, Sheila Piper. How are you? So we're live on all these different channels. 2 on Facebook. We're on Tunes in the House, and we are on Tartan Tunes. So please share this about, folks. Share it about to anybody that you think would enjoy a wee bit of crack and a bit of good fun. Ross, that was a new tune.
I had that tonight.
Well, we thought at long last we've managed to get a tune of the two of us playing together.
I know. That's the first time since that.
It's kind of cool. And that's a wee tune that you wrote.
That's right. I wrote that at Christmas time, a tune for my mother. Sadly, the family dog passed away last year, so I wrote a wee tune for a Christmas present this year.
What's the tune actually called?
The tune's called Bruno.
Bruno the dog. Great memory to have a wee tune after him. So a lovely wee 6/8, and we've done that, folks, tonight by doing it. Ross recorded it on his phone, sent me a track which I messed about with for a wee while, converting things from MPEGs into WAVs and all that kind of stuff. Loaded it into my studio on my computer and managed to record with the accordion bits and the piano and the bass. So, see the things you can learn if you do the applied music course at the UHI. There's a plug for the UHI. It was Army Cadet, Liam. Thank you.
That's it. Very good.
So, so all these things I couldn't have done 7 years ago, but there we go. Now you can record stuff as a title track to our show. So that's Bruno. And we're working more and more. So fantastic to see so many people watching tonight. That's fantastic. We've got 2 great guests for you. First guest tonight is a young man, exceptionally talented fiddle player from the Isle of Man, Tomas Callister. So I'm looking forward to getting Tomas on for a blether and finding out all the traditions and how similar a lot of the Isle of Man stuff is actually Celtic traditions to us. Mm-hmm. Who have we got on second?
And the second guest we've got on from Spain Bridge, none other than BBC Radio Scotland's Take the Floor, Gary Innes.
Yeah, so fantastic.
To give us a tune and give us some stories.
He's in Glasgow tonight, I think, to be honest. Because he had just finished doing his show, and I don't know if you heard the show earlier on, but I tuned on and Karen told me she'd tuned in quickly and he was playing Dolly Parton number.
On his accordion?
No, it's one of the tracks on his request show, I think. A Dolly Parton number. I think it was for These Are My Mountains or something.
The part to Glencoe.
And this is my Glen. Anyway, right, now, enough. Right, so we've got 2 fantastic guests. I'm looking forward to Gary coming on to speak about, well, everything. Broadcasting, manran, playing the accordion, playing shinty, commentator for shinty, how he's still got Eddie fingers left after playing shinty, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be good fun. Mm-hmm. So, right, I'm going to do a wee set of jigs tonight to get us going. Hello, Doug.
Very good. What are you playing?
I am going to play one I should have played last week, and it was too late after I'd been on the show. A tune called The Hogmanay Jig by Andrew Rankin. I'm going to follow that way. I think it's a Canadian one. Jack Hayes wrote it. It's called The Lemonville Jig. And the last one, a tune by the late Lindsay Ross, called Joe Foster's Jig. So 3 jigs.
Very good.
So,
Take it away, Peter.
I think I shall play them with the accordion rather than.
Gene Swan's cutting down to you there.
I'm glad Jean got my sense of humour. Maybe doesn't like it, but she got. Here we go.
Very, very good.
Well, I was also, do you know something? The second tune I hadn't played for years, which sounded like that a wee bit actually, but I was using as my resource there the Tunes in the Hoose tune book.
Very good.
Because this book is full of tunes that even I haven't played for years. Maybe played second accordion to them or something like that, but never actually got into actually playing. So, Andy, looking for a Tunes in the Hoose book, I need to get in touch with Tunes in the Hoose about it because they're great. Great.
We'll put that link up at some point as well on this show, actually, because it is a fantastic book. There it is. Right on cue with Karen, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. I just played it. There's a lot of folks in there, fine dance set. I played 632s there. I think the actual dance is 832s, but it might be 432s. I can't remember. One of the country dancers. There's Sheila Babe. She'll keep me right out there. So, anybody looking for a tune book, there you go, tunesinthehoose.com. I think they're waiting on more getting printed. It's been so popular, but I'm sure there's a way that you can order one and get it when it comes through.
A hugely successful book. How's your book getting on, Peter? While we're on the subject.
My book is Mr. Gordon Shand has kindly agreed to write me a wee forward for this one, book 2. So hopefully we'll have that by tomorrow, and then it's nearly away to the printers. That's it.
Already? Yeah.
So it should be out, and so that's the new book, St. Ninian's Collection, Volume 2. Can't believe it. Had been for 50 years meaning to get a book out. Well, not quite 50 years, 30 years, but never got around to it. Karen gave me a push last through the lockdown, got a book out, and realised I've got about enough tunes for 3 books. So here goes.
That's brilliant. Well, look forward to it. I know that Swimming in the Sea. Hopefully, the front cover's a James Bond style wetsuit.
You can tell that. You can tell that's actually inside the cover. It's in the inside page. It's just we didn't want to scare the children in shops. So that's all. So
that's great news.
No,
fantastic.
So that's great. And then hopefully, but we'll keep folk up to date with that. We're hopefully working on a project with a book as well. But more and more will come out about that as we go on.
Very exciting stuff.
So we're working on a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. What are you giving us tonight on the pipes?
On the small pipes tonight, you're going to get a couple of hornpipes. The first one's going to be called Rigmore. And the second one's a tune called Cayley Lines.
All right. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, it's a cracking tune.
I think you're not going to die for These Are My Mountains then.
No.
It'd be good if you did.
I know, I need to work on it.
Climb every mountain. Yeah. Right.
We'll work on that as an intro tune in the future.
Take Rigmore away. Rigmore will be good.
Here we go.
The only thing I know that's called Rigmore is the hospital.
Well, Rigmore's, I don't know if it's named after the hospital or an area in Inverness.
Yes, that was the very first time I was ever in hospital with kidney stones. I'll never forget it. When I was 20 years old. Rigmore Hospital. Awfully fine place.
There we
Jimmy
go.
started at me again, look. It's a colouring book this time, Jamie. You'll be all right.
Right, I'll give you a tune.
Take it away.
Here we go.
Yay, lovely.
Thank you.
Nice tempo, lovely.
Thank you very much. There's Anna.
That's a nice tune, that second tune. Never heard that one before. It's a cracker.
No, it's all the tunes I played this month have come out of the Black Watch folder that I had from 20 years ago. It's been great going over these sets of tunes that we used to play. And it's handwritten. And I don't have the composer on that sheet of paper, but I'll find out and let you know.
Yeah, sure, nice one. Folks, there's so many people joining us tonight. I can't believe this. This is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely huge audience out there. Thank you so much, people. And share it about. There's Harry Duncan. Do you know something? I thought about Harry today for some reason. I thought we hadn't heard very much of him for a while.
Hope he's well. I'm sure he is.
He's obviously still kicking about, so that's good. Good stuff. How are you doing, Harry? Brilliant to see you. Right. Going to bring a guest on. Folk are fed up listening to you and me, probably.
Probably, definitely.
Bring our next guest on and see if he knows For These Are My Mountains. He might know it. He might. Anyway, this young man I met a number of years ago now, but originally from the Isle of Man, but he's in Glasgow tonight. So it's Tomas Callister. Can we bring Tomas on, please? Thank you very much. Good evening, sir.
How's it going? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you getting on?
Aye, good. Aye, still living.
Any snow in Glasgow?
There was a couple of days ago, but it's all thawed out now. But it was deathly icy. I've never seen anything like it. It was, need to get some crampons to get to the shop. Like,
maybe that's a government ploy to keep everybody in the houses.
It could be. Don't grit the pavements. Like,
don't grit the pavements. That'll keep them in. But no, we've had a wee bit of snow up here. In fact, the kids were so excited because we don't just get an awful lot of snow in Shetland these days. And they were all excited and go out. And Grace was hyper pleased to make a snow lady. There you go.
Nice. Quite right too. And I've seen Peter. You were in the sea today yourself and Karen. You're in the sea.
Aye. Yeah, having a wee sun. What was that, Rob?
You're a brave man.
Absolute madness.
I love it. It's great fun. We've enjoy it. It's quite interesting because the seals come along quite close to you. They're only about 20 feet away. But today, even they had the sense that they weren't about. There wasn't even a seal.
Right, fair enough. If you ever come face to face with a snail.
Yeah, well, the last couple of days there's been killer whales going about. There's been orca going about. So maybe that's why the seals were clever enough to be out the way. And
aye, that'll be it.
And saying that, not so good for us, right enough. But anyway, so what have you been up to, sir? You've been in lockdown, the same as all of us, really. I've
been in lockdown. Now, I mean, there was that brief respite in the summer there, but yeah, I mean, it's been in lockdown the whole time, and we've been here in Glasgow, myself and my girlfriend Hannah, and it's not too bad. Like, we've been, kind of trying to keep ourselves busy in whatever way we can. But being in the city, like I'm not from the city, but it's difficult to live in the city when there's none of the things that are good about living in the city. They're actually happening. You can't go and see anyone. You can't go to a pub or anything like that. But so I wish that we'd spent this time, maybe back home on the Isle of Man or up in the Highlands or something like that. It would be better.
Did you say to me earlier, Hannah, your girlfriend's from Kyle? Did you say? Is that what
she's from Urbisig and Achmore up there. So,
okay.
And
beautiful part of the world as well.
It's lovely up there. It's really, really nice.
So originally from the Isle of Man. How long have you been away from the Isle of Man now then?
Well, so I've been in Scotland for I think 10 years now.
Right.
10 years in Scotland. And I was born in Liverpool to a kind of a Manx and Scottish sort of family, and then we went to the Isle of Man. But I've been off the Isle of Man now longer than I was ever on it. But yeah, 10 years in Scotland. I moved up to Scotland to study at the UHI course on Benbecula, which is where I met yourself, Peter, as well, up there doing that. And but yeah, been away longer than I was ever on the Isle of Man now. Yeah. But call myself Manx.
But what I was going to say was that so when you played music in Liverpool before you went to the Isle of Man, then?
I learned a bit from my dad, right. who's a great player, and he would go to the Irish Centre and stuff in Liverpool and played in a couple of bands and stuff. But I really kind of got into playing the fiddle on the Isle of Man, and my dad's family is from the Isle of Man and stuff, and I kind of really got into playing Irish and Manx music on the Isle of Man.
Yeah. So
the Manx music, is that, you'd class that as like quite Celtic music, I guess?
It is. So there's the kind of the standard kind of stuff, jigs and reels and things like that. But and we've got our own language on the Isle of Man as well, Manx Gaelic, and in many ways the Isle of Man, kind of really reflects where it is in the middle of Ireland and Scotland and stuff, and it's kind of got it's very, very similar to the kind of the Gaelic sort of cultures there, and if you're a good Manx speaker, you can happily have a conversation with someone speaking Scottish Gaelic or Irish, likewise as well. So it's very similar language. Yeah.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because somebody told me the old fishermen from Shetland up here, when they went to Norway and Denmark, etc., the dialect was so strong here to the north side that they could all understand each other. The north language, which is quite amazing when you think of that. It's quite
absolutely. But that's how these places were connected, weren't they? It was through the the sea. That was the roads then, and the fishing and things like that. When I first went to Uist, I was in the pub, and this really old man came up to me, and he was asking me where I was from, and I said I was from the Isle of Man, and he said that his granddad told him stories about Manx fishermen coming up to South Uist, and he would say they were always wild. They were wild, kind of, lads dancing on the tables and playing fiddles and stuff like that, which is amazing. It was absolutely amazing to hear. But it is, that was I suppose it's just as on Shetland, especially, it's just as quick to get to Norway and stuff, isn't it, than anywhere else.
But you just kind of carried that tradition on then, going up to US, didn't you? You were kind of wild and Manx and playing the fiddle and dancing on tables, so nothing changed.
A bit, maybe a bit. We had a good time.
Having your own dialect or Gaelic, I guess, if you call it that, that'll tie in with having your own style of music and maybe your own dance as well. Is that right? Would you have your own dance style there as well?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there's Manx dancing and Manx songs and Manx tunes and things like that. And there is kind of I think you can tell when something's Manx, or there is kind of a something slightly different about the music there. But it is difficult on the Isle of Man because it came so close to kind of extinction, with the language and the music and stuff like that. I mean, we got down to one native speaker of Manx at one point. It was one fella, and since then they've managed to bring it back, and loads of people speak it. There's a bunce called Gilgach, like the Manx school, and both my wee sisters went there, and my dad can speak Manx and stuff like that, and so they really kind of brought it back from the brink almost, and on the Isle of Man, really successfully. It's growing all the time, and it's really, really good. But it didn't help on the Isle of Man. There was a story I heard about kind of when it was kind of getting, really thin on the ground, kind of native Manx speakers. There was two in the 70s, and they lived in the same town, and they were two of the last people that could speak this language natively, and they wouldn't speak to each other because they'd fallen out in the past. Something, you know what it's like in island communities and things like very tight knit communities, and they wouldn't speak to each other, which I always thought was quite funny. But there's always.
I remember going to Fair Isle once as well, the island between us and Orkney. That's where Chris Stout, the fiddler, his relations are all from, his ancestors. And I remember the old man picking us up there, and he said straight away, he said his name, and he said, and I'm the second oldest man on the island. And apparently he was totally hacked off because the oldest man kept living and living and living. He was desperate to get this. I'm the oldest man. I think he got it then.
Oh well, I'm glad. But that's the way things go, you know.
Yeah. And we turned up at the harbour on the way home, the wee harbour, and there was about 8 cars sitting, and he looked at me and he goes, "My God, it reminds me of London," he said. That was Fair Isle on a busy day. Let's look at the fiddle then. Do you fancy getting us a wee tune?
I do have the fiddle. Aye.
That would be awful good. Is it the black fiddle?
I'll have to blow the dust off of it a bit, but I got the black fiddle. And
you're kind of famous for that black fiddle.
Well, I mean, I had a black one for years, a wooden one, and I bought it when I lived on Uist. I bought it on eBay, and I just seen it on eBay, and it was like, I don't know what it was, like a couple of £100 or something like that. And this old knackered sort of stained black fiddle with a big lion's head. It's just there actually on the wall behind me, but I had that for years, and I played that for years. But I got a new black fiddle fairly recently, and it's made out of carbon fiber actually.
All right.
Yeah, I mean it's great for playing gigs and things like that, and it tends to stay in tune most of the time.
And far easier to amplify probably as well.
Well, it is as well, but it sounds great acoustically too, or at least I think it does anyway.
Yeah. What are you giving us?
Well, okay, I'll give you a set of tunes. I'll do a set of Manx tunes to
fantastic
to kick it off. There's a set of 3 sort of Manx jigs, I suppose you'd call them, but they're kind of similar in feel to kind of an Irish slide sort of thing. So like kind of a jiggy sort of 12/8 kind of thing. But there's three old Manx tunes, and I'll give you them to. Hopefully this goes well. I've not played in about 6 months, so we'll see.
fantastic, man. There's something a wee bit unusual for you there, getting a round of applause. Something we've been missing for a while.
Not heard that.
It's all very great. There's Martin McLeod
in a prayer there, lads.
There's Martin McLeod and Claire Gillen on as well. All fiddle players listening to you here tonight. Fantastic.
Oh, Jesus, it's the pressure.
They're all tuning in.
That was absolutely fantastic.
So cheers, good to hear something like that. It's just great stuff. It's fairly fired up stuff as well. It's not.
I think. I mean, there's a mixture of stuff on the Isle of Man. You know, like quite a lot of it is. There's a lot of songs and loads of kind of slower things, but I think there is something different, a different quality about some of the Manx stuff. You know, it does have its own thing going on. You know.
Tell us. Do you know what make that fiddle is? There's too many people asking you. They're all going.
It's made by a fella in Canada called Fred Gayford, and he and I'd never played a carbon fiber fiddle, before I played that one. But I was online and I seen these fiddles, you know, and they looked great. And I emailed this fella Fred, and I was like, you know, I've never played a carbon fiddle before. Do you know what's it like? Obviously, you know, you make them, you say it's great, but you know what's it like, and you know, compared to the wooden fiddle and things. And he came back to me. He kind of said, do you know what? I'll send you one and pay for the postage and stuff like that, and I'll send you one. And if you don't like it, you know, you can send it back. So I thought, oh, that sounds reasonable, you know. So sure enough, he sent it to me, and a few weeks later, it arrived in a cardboard box, having come across the Atlantic in a cardboard box. Came to the front door, and I got it, and I took it out of the cardboard box, and it was in tune. You know, after that whole time, and I just thought, well, that's something else, you know. But I was
wonder if I could get a set of pipes like that. That would be great.
But that's the thing. But like, I played a few carbon fiddles since then, you know, and to be honest, it's not been for me, you know. But these particular ones, the Fred is a lovely fella, and obviously, you know, he makes an amazing instrument and stuff like that. But it plays great, and you know, it stays in tune when you're playing a sweaty gig and things like that. So I really like it anyway.
There's so many people here tonight just complimenting you, saying brilliant playing, loved it. Claire Gullen was asking you didn't know the name of the last tune, somebody said.
The last tune, Heimish Jacht, it was called, and it means I went in, or I did in Manx. And it's quite a rude tune. It's I did in, but it's got lots of connotations to it. It's
one of these tunes. Up in Shetland, they have all the wedding tunes for the bedroom and all that kind of stuff.
That's it, yeah. That's it, yeah.
You just can't imagine the romance, can you, of your wedding night, just about to get on with things when the fiddler cranks up a tune at the bottom of the bed.
Standing over you, that's not what you want.
No, come on. So,
you were talking about the fiddle, the carbon fiddle staying in tune and sweaty gigs. When was the last gig? When was the last live performance? What was it?
I think, well, we did a thing with our band Emar in November, I think, and we did a thing for Celtic Connections coming up. So we've done a couple of pre-recorded sort of things, you know, for online stuff. But as far as like an actual gig in front of actual people, we've not done one of them since we did a tour of Ireland in February with Emar, and I think those were the last kind of gigs. And
what's the lineup with Emar just now then?
So with Emar, it's myself on the fiddle and a fellow Manxman called Adam Rhodes on the bouzouki, and a fella from is it Suffolk called Adam Brown. He plays the bodhrán and the guitar. He's really incredibly good. One of the best musicians I've ever heard. He's amazing. And then there's got a great piper, Ryan Murphy from Cork. He's a great piper and stuff, and the very famous Mossen Amini as well on the concertina.
It's a cracking lineup.
Emar, if any of the guests or any of the audience is watching and you've not heard Emar, they're absolutely dynamite. They're one of my favourites. Really,
well, thanks, Ross.
really good.
We've got a tune.
The only thing is, Thomas, Ross doesn't get out very much, though. So.
That explains it. Like.
No, it's not that band you play with, is it? You've got a trio.
Well, we've got a band called. We did have a trio back in the day. Not anymore, unfortunately. But I play with a band called Callister, which is has same Adam Rhodes from the Isle of Man as well, and another lad from the Isle of Man called David Kilgallen, who's an amazing piano player and great fiddler as well. And then on the drums, we've got the unstoppable Greg Barry, who plays with the band Elephant Sessions on the drums and stuff. And he's an amazing drummer. So we've got Meckley, and we've just released an album with Meckley just before Christmas there, a couple of weeks before Christmas. And we were very lucky. It went to number one in the iTunes in the world music chart, where it stayed for a week or so, which we were very surprised and pleased about.
Greg, the drummer, Elephant Sessions. Greg was on the UHI course as well, wasn't he?
Greg was, yeah. I met Greg for the first time on the boat to Uist.
Right, and then when they came up here to Shetland with the UHI course. It was up Hellier-ish time. It was just before. Remember. Were you up on that trip as well?
I was up as well, yeah.
And remember we all went to the galley shed?
I do.
At night where they build the galley. And we had 20 musicians sitting in a big circle in front of the galley, just sitting playing tunes on it. It was utterly amazing.
That was a great night. And
just drink was flowing, everything.
Do you know, I finished...
Greg happened to say in the middle of that to me, I think my grandfather was the Yarrow in Lerwick one year or something.
He did, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
What? Anyway, we got him key and got him into the committee room where there's a picture up on the wall of every Yarrow that's ever been, and we found his grandfather up there. So that was absolutely amazing.
I remember that night as well. Yeah, with all the shields on the wall in there as well. You know, and we were playing tunes. That was a great night. I often think of that night, and I finished up that night. Do you know the building where the festival club is for Shetland Folk Festival?
Aylesborough, yeah.
The Aylesborough. Do you know the kind of the lawn outside the front of that, like the kind of park sort of thing? I finished my night lying in that. I was lying on the ground in there. About 5 a.m. That's how you can tell a good night, I swear.
In January. Oof.
The Lone Ranger.
I got rescued though.
The Lone Ranger, I like it. Well, that's brilliant. But so anyway, I was wondering, Mekla means. Tell me again. You told me this earlier.
Mekla, so it means sons of the sea in Manx.
Is that in Manx? That's Manx.
Yeah,
is it? So
that's Manx. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you've recorded a new album.
We have.
Is it released?
It's released. So we released it 2 weeks before Christmas there, and
so
we were.
Some of it you said was pre-lockdown. You had recorded some of it.
Yeah. So the majority of it, thankfully, we got recorded before lockdown and things. But it's been a few years in the making. It's taken us a long time to kind of get it together, but that's the thing about the lockdown and things like that. I mean, probably the only good thing about it is that we have had some time to be able to kind of finish off things that we were they were in the works before anyway. But we recorded most of it before and we released it a couple of weeks before Christmas there, and I was a bit worried about it, initially, because it was kind of, we couldn't get together to record a video and things like that, and it was like, as you usually need to when you're releasing things these days, you need a Facebook video and all this kind of stuff. But Dave was off in the Isle of Man, and me and Adam are in Glasgow, and Greg was kind of up the road in Dingwall and stuff. So we weren't able to get together. So I was a bit worried about it, but we did manage to get a couple of bits together, and the release went really well, and I was really happy with it.
Brilliant, fantastic.
Between Meckler and Ema, I mean, they're two top end. I mean, and they sound very different when you listen to them. I don't know how to describe Meckler. That it's like there's nearly like an electric or pop sort of link somewhere. And I'm going to ask you a question. You mentioned about videos, getting stuff videoed. I'm dying to ask you something in a second, but you must be dead busy with the two.
Well, I mean, busy enough, or at least we were, before all this.
Have you been able to catch up with stuff then? Is this year 2020? Has that been like a valuable year as a catch up and just to reset for going forward? Do you think?
I think so. But like personally, for sure. I mean, like it's been a very. I mean, obviously, there's all the different challenges that this whole situation has brought us all, and all the the nonsense we have to deal with associated with that. But for me personally, yeah, I mean, like, it was great. First of all, it was great to spend some time at home for a bit, because we've been lucky enough to have been, busy enough with the bands before lockdown, and it was really nice to spend some time at home and with my girlfriend, and just do normal life stuff with that, which was great. But obviously, yeah, for sure. But that kind of, obviously everyone wants to get back on the road and stuff, and obviously financially it's been a complete train wreck as well. But that's just the way it goes. But I think we have managed to use it, for kind of
you've got something anyway.
Yeah, I think so. I think
musicians, being musicians, were creative people, and when an opportunity comes along or an unusual situation, we're usually pretty bendy at getting around things and working with things, and so it's magic that you're doing that. And did you tell me there was a music book from Meckler as well?
There was with our band Emar, we released a tune book. So we've released 2 albums with Emar in the last. We've been playing 5 years together, and we've released 2 albums, and we've just released a tune book with all the music from both CDs in, and you can get it on the Emar website if you want to go. Here it is at the bottom there.
Yeah, it's flashing away. So is most of the material in that original material then, or is there any?
Yeah, quite a lot of it is. I'd say probably the majority is original stuff. I mean, we kind of go a good tune is a good tune. We kind of go with that. So there's lots of different kinds of things. There's lots of newly written ones. We've got tunes from Newfoundland, tunes from Sweden, also, and everything in between in there. But quite a lot of it is original compositions from the 3 tune players in the band.
I feel this is going to have to be a book in my collection.
I'll send you one.
It's definitely.
It's ticking all the right boxes. Karen, my wife, was backstage driving all this tonight, and Karen, if you're listening, that book would be quite nice. Just.
I'll send you one. I'll send you one up.
Well, that sounds great. You haven't got another set of tunes, and then we'll have a wee quick weather.
I do. What shall I do?
What are you doing for it this time?
I'll do. I'll start it off with a Manx, another Manx tune, a slow one, called "The Rain of Claim," and I will go into a couple after that, and I hope it works out. So I'll start with the slow one.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen out there. Remember and share this about everywhere, because you're getting top class entertainment tonight. This is amazing. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, here we go.
You.
Yes. Excellent, man. Whoa.
I'm knackered. I was watching that.
Well, that is just jumping.
Absolutely.
Jumping.
The first, I loved the first tune as well. What was it called and what does it mean? I guess it's a Manx word.
Yeah, it is. The name escapes me for the I'll send that to you. I can't remember the name of it just right now, but it's a lovely tune. I've always loved that tune on the Isle of Man, and it's an example of one of the there's a lot of beautiful kind of slower tunes from there. Do you know what I mean? I'll send you that. I think it's Arena Clan. I think it's called Arena Clan.
Well, I just got a message there saying CDs, MR CDs, and book already ordered. So there we go.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks very much.
So,
for that.
folks, this is the best way you can support musicians just now, folks, is by buying merchandise and doing it that way, because it's you're getting something back for that as well, which is so nice. But it's great having you on tonight, Thomas. It's fantastic.
Well, it's a pleasure, lads. Honestly, thanks for having us on.
We're really lucky having two great guests, and then we've got yourself, and then we've got Gary Innes coming on in a wee while as well.
I think there's a bit of a link between the bands. Is there not a link between? Is Ryan Murray not a bit of a link between?
Ryan is he plays in Email, but he also plays in Manran with alongside Gary there. Do you know? Right. So there is a connection there. There is a connection.
You can also speak Manx and Gaelic to each other.
Well, we have done in the past a bit, but I'm not a great Manx speaker, but I'd like to be better.
I think I told you earlier, I was actually born in Douglas. There's Jenny Douglas just come on from South Africa as well, but I was actually born in Douglas, and everybody goes, "Oh, the Isle of Man," but it wasn't. It was South Lanarkshire where I was born. That was always the first question, and the second question was, "Have you ever seen a cat with no tail?" That's always the two questions.
There's a cat with no tail and 3 legs. It's the proper Manx cat.
Yeah.
3 legs. Ross, question about the Isle of Man thing.
Yeah, no, just interesting when you talk about that Celtic link and how far back that goes, and the Gaelic speaking, the music especially. You mentioned that earlier about everything, about having its special style. And really, if you think about it, all the islands, really, if you go like Cape Breton, Hebrides, Skye, all the inner islands, they'll once you get to an island, Shetland, Orkney, like things will kind of evolve in its own little way. You could take a style anywhere, but the people on it, the different people that are on it, I'll definitely do it.
No, that's it. And I've always been fascinated by that as well. Wherever you go, you can see the kind of, the different kind of styles and influences. Like I went to Cape Breton for the first time, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, something like that. And I went there for the Celtic Colours Festival, which is just one of the best things. It's one of the best places I've ever been. I could happily, see myself living there. It's a great place. But I was at this festival, and just like they're so Scottish, the people in Cape Breton. It's like, they're speaking Gaelic and stuff like that. And it's just like, I was just blown away. And there was a couple of lads sitting behind me, and they were playing kind of slides and polkas on a box, on like a button box, and I was like, this is amazing. And I turned around to them and I asked them where they're from. I said, obviously you're from Ireland. And I could hear them speaking, and they sounded Irish and stuff. And I was, obviously you're from Ireland, but where are you from? And they said, no, we're from Newfoundland. So it's like, and it's like, so I think in a way, maybe, kind of Newfoundland is to Ireland what Cape Breton is to Scotland, in a kind of way. But it was fascinating going over there. We've been lucky enough to have played over there, quite a lot in Canada and the States and things like that, and had a quite a funny one in Utah. We were playing in Utah, and I kept seeing the name Callister there, like my own name, and it was everywhere in Utah, and I couldn't believe it. And it's this quite strange, a Manx name, in Utah. And I did a bit of research into it, and I looked on Facebook. And so I put my name into Facebook, and all these people called Thomas Callister came up on Facebook, and they were all in Utah for some reason. And so I did a bit of research into it, and it turns out a Mormon missionary came to the Isle of Man, I think in 1829, and this fella called Thomas Callister, who's probably a relation way back when, thought it sounded quite good, so off he went on a boat to New Orleans, and he walked to Salt Lake City, and then became, high up in the Mormon church or whatever, and they had, a lot of children, I guess you could, as they tend to do, and called them all Thomas Callister. So there's just loads of people in Salt Lake City called Thomas Callister, which I found out there as well. But the styles of music are also fascinating.
Yeah.
No,
and that ship, like that isolation, a name. There's an example of a name, and what happens. A name goes somewhere. But all these islands are obviously linked with fishing and boats in the old days. So you would have had these. What we were able to do in 2020 with the internet, I guess, was something that was physically happening in much slower terms. These boats that were down like Grimsby or all the way down from the very south or Spain. Portugal, they were all doing the routes up to Norway at every port all the way up, So
no, that's it, and the connections are amazing. It's quicker to get from Uist to the Isle of Man than it is to get from Uist to Edinburgh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or on a boat, I think so. When you had to walk it,
the name. I've noticed the name Callister coming up in a few of the comments that's been coming on screen tonight. So I think you have some family watching either that or
do I?
Either that or most of the Mormon church from Utah.
Well, they're both welcome.
Listen, thank you so much for gearing up. Would you manage to give us a quick tune? I see Gary sitting having a wee tune to himself there. He's giving me a thumbs up as well. I can see him. Gary, I'll not be long. I'll get Tom to play one set of tunes and then we'll be with you, sir. So give us a wee quick fire up on there.
Yeah, I'll do.
We'll speak to you quickly before you go after that.
I know what it's. Couple of reels then. So here's one from Prince Edward Island, and then I'll go into something after that.
There you go. There's a Callister in the scheme. Look.
That's my dad. Hi, Dad. Okay, here we go.
I just seen there at the end there. I just seen Ryan Murphy's name pop up. It's a bit late for the show. Do you think he's in to watch Gary Innes instead?
I think so. I think that's what's happened now.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask you. I meant to ask you earlier on. I was dying to ask you earlier on, and I never got onto it. But the Meckler, one of the tracks, and it was my favourite one, is called Flashback.
Why?
I want to know how many videos you had to look for it to fit the music, or if you got the music to fit the video. If you don't know the video, you'll need to go on Spotify or wherever to watch it. Please, please, please tell me that you went down to the local fitness centre, and that's the Manx. That's
what they're all up to down there.
That's the local yoga class.
For those of you who've not seen that, it's like we did for that track Flashback on the Meckler album. We did it was kind of like an 80s style exercise video, you know. So there's loads of people in Lycra kind of like working out and stuff like that.
Guys, can you stop? We've just lost half the audience.
Well, to be fair, you can just go over and watch the video and eat some cheese instead. You know, that's also fine. But I know, I mean, our lad Adam Rhodes in the band managed to find he managed to somehow, some black magic, he managed to match up one of these videos with the track on there. You know, it's a good laugh. It's a good bit.
It's absolutely brilliant, and it works. It works brilliantly. I think it's fantastic. It's a great track too. That's
a bit of crack, like.
Yeah.
Listen, Thomas, we could have you on all night, blathering away here, but thank you so much.
No. Thank you, lads, for having us on. Honestly, I had a great time, and
remember, folks, as well, this is all recorded, so you can go back and watch it on YouTube, on our channel, Tartan Tunes channel, if you missed it tonight, or it'll be flying about on Facebook as well. So if you don't worry about having to write down websites and things, they'll all be there, and we'll put them onto anything you want to post, Tom. Just fire it over, and we'll put it onto our Tartan Tunes channel, etc., and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And if you want to, we'll speak to you later about getting a wee video of an MR one for YouTube, and we'll put it on our channel and all that just to promote.
No worries, yeah. That's cool.
Thank you so much. All the best to you. All the best to your girlfriend as well.
Thanks very much.
And if she's put up with you this long in the house together, you should be okay now.
She's a saint, like. But thanks, honestly, lads. Thanks for having us on. Really appreciate that, and looking forward to the rest of the show as well.
Hope to see a person someday soon again.
Hope so too. All right, lads. Thanks.
Stay safe.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
That's great. Smashing first guest.
What a lovely guy, and what a brilliant player. Smashing
player. Yeah, he's a right nice fellow, and nice to hear something just a wee bit different, the Isle of Man stuff, and really nice. And a lot of people would never be aware that the Isle of Man think of it that way. So that's what this show's really all about, isn't it?
I just thought it was fast.
Sorry?
I just thought it was fast motorbikes, but it's fast fiddlers as well.
Fast fiddlers. And the other thing is, it's what this show's all about, though, isn't it? It's just whetting folks' appetites, hopefully, that you go out there and search and find somebody new to listen to. We've got people from all over the world. We've actually got the highest consistent audience watching the whole night ever tonight. I'm watching figures going bonkers. Yeah. So it's great. Thank you very much.
Involved with are definitely worth a look. If you've never heard them and you like this music and this show, look them up.
Yeah, fantastic, nice. Now this other young man, don't know how we're going to fit this guy in, or we could speak to him for days. But there we go. He's got so many things going on. So
I'd actually never heard of him before. So
you've never heard him before? Oh, well, that's okay. That's all right. Well, you'll maybe heard him by the end of it. Ladies and gentlemen, originally, as Ross said, from Spain Bridge, but tonight in Glasgow, we are going to bring on Mr. Gary Innes, hopefully.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you boys doing?
Good.
We're great. We're having a great wee night, and it was really nice having Tomas on there. He's a super lad and super player.
What a man, Tomas! What a player! It's just you could listen to that all night long, couldn't you?
Yeah, very, very incredible. I'm watching out for comments, Gary, since you're on tonight, because you have a cousin in Shetland that is a vet.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, and she helped me out with my dogs through the. We lost both our dogs in the lockdown, but she was absolutely fantastic. So I put her a wee message and said, "Guess who's on the show?" And she said, "Oh, can you write comments?" And I said, "Yeah, you can." So be prepared. Be prepared.
Oh, we'll keep it clean, please.
Yeah, that's right. Remember, this man works for the BBC now, folks. Come on.
Well, only when not having this strapped on. You know what? Once this on, I suppose anything goes, really.
Well, that's right. You can't really play in Man Run and do the BBC, but it's different things.
Well, it's different stories, really. That's all.
Different stories. How are you? You doing fine? You doing all right?
Yeah. So actually, you said I was in Glasgow. I'm actually in Tinault.
Sorry.
My wife and our little daughter Gracie. We moved up about 6-7 weeks ago now. So we sold up in Glasgow after the first lockdown, and we've got a wee bit of land, and we're building a house up here in Argyll. So it's been great, and obviously it's nice to get a bit further north, be closer to my own family and closer to my wife Hannah's mum and dad and everything in the village too. So it's been great so far.
And Tinault's lovely up there. It's absolutely. Sorry, I misunderstood you earlier when you said that, because you did say Tinault. I thought you were building the house and then moving. So
that was actually the plan as well. Was we were just going to stay in Glasgow until the house was done and then move north. But the thought of maybe another lockdown over Christmas, New Year, a number of months ago, we just thought, you know what, let's just get north just now, just in case. I mean, we told Santa we moved anyway, and thankfully he found us, so we were all right.
Aye. He found Shetland this year as well, so my pair were delighted.
He's bloody hardy.
Key worker. So,
one day a year.
Absolutely, yeah. And nice to see you as well, Ross.
How you doing?
Not too bad, not bad. You've got the pipes there all ready.
They were ready, but they're just for show now. They're just aye.
Good, man.
You've had a radio show the night already.
Yes, we had the live show between 5 and 7, although I think we actually went on at 5:30 tonight because of sport. But the request show has been one of the sort of little, I suppose the beautiful moments that have come out of lockdown for us personally. You know, it's been magic and getting to connect with people exactly the same as yourselves. You know, you're connecting to a worldwide audience and having a blether and getting guests in and letting people hear and exposing other people to music that they might not necessarily have heard before, which it's just been great.
I don't know if you missed my joke earlier on, because Karen said she was listening to you and you were playing Dolly Parton tonight. Were you?
We were playing Dolly Parton. That's the beauty of the request show. Just if it comes
I asked if it was For These Are My Mountains you were playing, and I got stared at.
No, it was My Motorboat we played.
All right, okay, that's all right. You've got the box on. Do you fancy giving us a wee tune, and then we'll get into having a wee blather about everything?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think being up on the west coast of Scotland, it'd be remiss of me not to start with a couple of 2/4 marches at least. So I'll give you this one. It's called Dr. Brian Tregaskis, and then a wee tune called Glenclova after that. So I'll pull the camera down a wee bit and pull myself back. There we go.
That's it. You've done this before, haven't you? You've done this before.
I'm in the zoomy chairs with the socks out, so we're laughing.
Don't do too many daft things, or you'll end up in Sandy Beacon's show.
Here we go, lads. There we are.
Yay.
There we go.
Fantastic, sir. Brilliant. This is, Gary, this is absolutely splendid and a real treat for a lot of people out there as well, who, even though you only found in lockdown is the exact same as we have, actually, I think your music is far, far healthier and popular than I've ever known it to be. There's people from all over the world. And in your case, a lot of people know you for being presenter of Take the Floor. And sometimes wouldn't they put two and two together what a good accordion player you are. So this is real nice to let folk that haven't heard you playing the box a wee bit get in, show it, because I think you've just brought a book out as well, haven't you? Your own tunes.
Yeah, so just last month I turned the grand old age of 40, and as part of that I've been thinking for years about, you know, releasing a wee book or a wee something with the tunes, and quite a number of my tunes have been recorded by some terrific artists out there, and I just thought it'd be quite nice to put them all down in one wee sort of as I say, book, and kind of pepper it with stories and lots of photos from my youngest age right the way through, and all the nonsense that's went with it. So yeah, it's been great, and I'm seeing my website is getting blasted along the bottom there. If you fancy a copy, it's called The First 40 Years, and you can pick it up at GaryInnes.com.
Well, I brought one out this year as well, but I've not really got any stories in it because there's so many of them that you couldn't tell.
Well,
for various reasons, and accompanying photographs would deem it unsellable, I think.
well, only in some markets, Peter, but in other markets it I'm sure it would take off.
Flying off the shelf.
Tell us when you mentioned that. That's a good. Go on, Ross. Sorry.
No, crack on.
That's a good point to start off on there. When you're talking about the book, your last 40 years, where were you brought up, and when did the box come along then? Since we're talking music first here.
I was brought up in the village of Speen Bridge, just outside of Fort William on the 82. And my dad plays the accordion. In fact, he plays maybe, a couple of dozen Gaelic waltzes tops. And I remember as kids, our house used to be a kind of hub for parties and things like that at Hogmanay and birthdays and things like that. So Dad always had the box out, and I could hear him playing downstairs. And of course, one of my earliest memories is certainly sitting on the step, listening to Dad on the stairs, waking up and hearing Dad playing the box, and usually getting chased back up to bed. So when I was old enough to start learning accordion, Mum and Dad said, do you fancy learning the accordion like your dad? And it just seemed like the most natural thing at that point, 7, 8 years old, just to grab the accordion. And we started going to lessons together. There was a guy called Charlie Stewart for the first couple of weeks. And Charlie and my dad went in for half an hour, and then I get a half an hour lesson until after about week 4. And Charlie said, my dad's name Huey, and he said, "Listen, Huey, any chance you just dropping the wee float off, and we just leave your lessons if you don't mind." So that was the end of my playing career, and I kept going from there.
Oh well, that's not bad. Not bad way to get into it.
It's not bad for the old man.
No, you would just buy a dram or something to make up for it or something. But, so that's when it started for you, and you went along playing. Fort William area. There's so many things to speak to you about here, of course. The shinty, you got into the shinty.
Yeah, and growing up in Speen Bridge in particular, it was the only sport that you played. There was no other sport available to play, even in primary school. If you didn't play shinty, you didn't play any sport or any team sport. And Fort William famously have the worst, or had, I certainly should add, the worst football team for a number of years, the Highland League and things. And quite a lot of that was down to such great shinty playing area in Lochaber, between the team Lochaber, Comali and Fort William. And then you've got Invergarry and outlying areas as well. And so because of that, the area was a real stronghold in the sport of shinty. And as I say, when we grew up, there was no football team in the village or anything. It was only shinty. And on a Saturday, I used to go up and watch the boys playing shinty. So for us, it was just very natural. You played, and at the weekend you watched the guys playing, and that's what you wanted to do when you were a big boy.
Could you tell us what shinty is? We've got so many overseas viewers to this one from all over the world.
Absolutely.
Probably thinking when Isla Jane Stute the Piper on from Orkney a couple of months ago, and we had to get her to explain the baw, because she was talking about the baw, the Orkney baw, and we couldn't have missed the chance because nobody would have had a clue what they were speaking about. But if you could just roughly tell people what shinty is.
Yeah, so I suppose that the closest game for anyone who's not seen it is probably to say it's like field hockey. There's 12 players. And the difference between field hockey and shinty, though, is that you have a stick called a cammon, and you can hit on both sides of it. So in a hockey stick, for instance, you would swing one side and then you would turn it round and use the back end. A shinty stick exactly the same on both sides, and it's full contact, and you can swing in the air and things like that. And I urge anyone out there who hasn't seen the game of shinty then to pop over to shinty.com and watch some of the videos and everything else. It's Scotland's kind of most indigenous sport, really. It's been around for thousands of years. And what an interesting fact is that ice hockey, which is obviously huge in Canada and North America, and of course around the world, but there's a direct link straight from shinty, when, especially during the clearances, when people went over to Canada and were shipped around the world, and they were playing shinty on ice, and they were calling it shinny. And then that's since been moved through to sort of the ice hockey family and things like that. So yeah, it's an incredible sport, and again, for many that'll be that will know what hurling is, the Irish sister sport as well. Yeah. Then shinty is very similar.
Now there's a lot of folk in Pitlochry that go up to Kinussie on the train. That's their day out, and they go and watch the shinty, and they love it, absolutely love it. It's a great sport to watch. It's cool.
It really is. It's kind of got it all. It's got full contact. There are no contracts, so of course it's all completely amateur. So you just play for the love of the game and everything else. And there's a real beauty in that as well. And that as you say, people travel from all over the country, as do players to play for their local clubs as well.
It's field hockey. I'm lost, says somebody. Oh well, never mind. Just Google it. Google shinty. But it's quite a rough game. It's quite.
Again, I think when it is full contact, and it's just one of those things that like rugby or any other sport that is full contact. Then when you add a bit of wood into the mix, then there are people that are going to get hurt. But again, like everything, you learn to protect yourself as a kid, and there's actually not that many injuries that you sustain.
Good job, considering you're an accordion player. That could have been a bit dodgy.
Well, that's right. I mean, there was always a wee worry that the fingers were going to get it at some point, and inevitably they did. But thankfully, it was usually the left hand that got it, broken fingers and thumbs and stuff. And I remember actually, I had a wee boxing glove. I broke this thumb a number of years ago playing the sport, and the girl kind of cast it for me in such a way that I could undo the base, and I'd put it through, and I'd get someone to strap it back up, and this wee boxing glove was sticking out, and I was just playing the right hand.
Fantastic. So Fort William, it was Fort William you played for?
It was Fort William, yeah, I played shinty for, yeah.
So was Lochaber the big rivals then?
No, Kilmallie were the big rivals across the water. So there's only it's just the river that really separates the two. And there was the Derby games in particular were just amazing. Really, really great fun up together.
You captained the Scotland team. How long was that for?
I did, yeah. Well, it was back in 2010. I was a captain. Usually what happened was there was a new captain each year, because there only was a home and away game against Ireland each year. So it was a great honour, to be a captain of the Scotland team. But you only ever got it for 1 year. So 2010 was my year, and it was terrific. We thankfully we won over in Ireland. I was against one of the All-Stars, a guy called Tommy Walsh that day. He was the Irish captain, and there's quite an amazing clip on YouTube still of the goalkeeper plays the ball out short, the Irish goalkeeper, and Tommy Walsh, he runs for it and I run for it. And I remember thinking at the time, right, he's going to swing for that ball, and I'm going to pull the cannon back, and I'm going to come through full smack. I'm going to break his hurl, and that's going to send a message to the Irish team that we mean business, and it's also going to send a message to the Scottish team that we're in this today. And all this is going through my head as the ball's dropping, and I just forgot to swing. I was away in cuckoo land. Tommy Walsh swung through, clattered me in the side, broke the cheekbone, the nose, the whole lot. But thankfully we did go on to win 22-21 that day, which was great. I'll never forget enough. And there's always that classic thing in the sport when a bad injury happens, and you inevitably say, "Oh, it's not bad," or "It's fine," or you'll be grand. And I remember going off and the doctor come and assess me, and I knew my nose was broken, certainly, because I could see it was over here, And I went over, and she just kind of held me by the nose, and I said I was cut down here too, and she just went, and I said, how is it? And she was like, "It's pretty bad." when the doctor used to say that, that's when you knew it was pretty bad. But anyway, it was an amazing time, and I say we won the home leg as well, so that was good.
Yeah, and that took you into commentating as well, because you commentated quite a lot of the shinty games on the television and things as well.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate the way that's all kind of worked out too. The live, there's usually 4 live games of shinty each year on the BBC One, and with Jonathan Sutherland, he usually presents one of your own from Shetland. Jonathan, great lad altogether. And so probably about 2008 or 2009, they started roping me in when we weren't playing with Fort William in the final. They were getting me on as a pundit for the telly, and that's just continued through, which has been really nice. And again, a nice wee extra string to the bow, as it were, when not performing in big games, getting to still be part of it.
I bet there's been a few amusing stories with the shinty over the years.
There's been quite a few. Yes.
If it's anything like rugby, I can imagine there's been a few stories.
Oh, there's loads and loads. I think that's the beauty when you play any kind of sport or you're part of a band or you do anything that involves a mass number of people. You get so many different characters and the attraction in that as well. All getting brought together and then going for a few beers and stuff. It brings it.
I love all the nicknames everybody gets as well. All the players get these nicknames and things.
Oh, I know, that's right. There's always a one chopper and one.
Yeah, it's great.
And all that kind of stuff. It's
Because
great.
with Jean Swanson on that night and her husband, and they talked about who was the runner that her husband used to run against.
Skinny McGilvery.
Skinny McGilvery. Yeah, he was great. I just wanted to meet this guy. He said used to race against this guy called Skinny McGilvery from, where was he from? Lismore.
I think so. Aye.
Oh, you can't beat that for a name, Skinny McGilvery for Lismore.
Skinny McGilvery's brilliant. Well, certainly in the area we had Boob, we had Jobby, we've had Peace. There's just loads and loads of great names to go with them all too.
So anyway, the bands in. I remember meeting you first when you were playing with the Box Club, because you played with Box Club as well. Because I've known Angus Lyon for years and years and years. And you and Angus come up, and I remember speaking to you up at the festival up here when you were that as well. So that was one band you were involved with, and then Manran. Manran's been huge.
Yeah,
big band.
It's been great. Yeah, we started it back in 2010, and it was kind of one of those things at the time. I kind of sat and said to the guys, look, I felt there's a hole in the market. There was nobody playing the Highland pipes with the Irish Uilleann pipes and singing Gaelic and English songs with a sort of a heavy kind of rock beat in like one group. And so we started the band, and what was quite different about Manran, I suppose, to many other bands is, as musicians, you play with your pals. You play with people you like, and they have the same sort of musical tastes and things, and people you like to hang out with. Well, Manran was quite different. It was kind of like a Big Brother experiment, really, because I was like, right, we need someone to play Uilleann pipes and flute. So who do I know that does that? Okay, we're looking for a drummer. Who do I know that does that? And in actual fact, when the band was put together, we met in the rehearsal room, and 4 of the boys out of the band had never met each other before, and that was that. So it was quite amazing, to be here 10 years, going to our 11th year, and only now, or only in the last 3 years in particular, does it really feel like we're all kind of gelling and going the same direction. I think because we're all coming from different directions with it over the years as well, and we've got some members in and things like that too. And it's but the experience has been incredible. We've played in over 30 countries around the world now, and we've had some absolutely incredible days out with it.
Quite a few albums out with Manran now as well.
We've got 3 albums out, quite a number of different singles, and the 4th album we're just finishing that this week actually, and then we're looking to release that this year at some point. Ideally, we would have had it out at the end of last year, but we're kind of holding it back a wee bit, because we don't know when we're actually going to perform again. So it feels like we could actually take an album out, and it could be a year realistically before we actually ever get the chance to perform it all in front of people. So we don't want to take it out too early either, and then people have heard it all or are fed up with it, and we haven't even got to tune it, Yeah.
And then you've got quite a number of albums out with Manran already. Where's the best place to buy Manran stuff? Just from the website?
Yeah, manran.co.uk. If you buy from there, then the money kind of goes back to the band. There are other shops and things like that out there that we've got distribution deals and things, but if you want it straight from the band, then just pop over to manran.co.uk.
I'm trying to remember, you wrote was it a Slow Air or something? Is that in the last couple of years? What was the topic that one was on again? You put together a recording, didn't you?
Oh, I think you were talking about Our Heroes.
Oh, were you involved with that one too?
Yeah, well, Our Heroes was a track that I wrote in 2015 for the first ever kind of folky collaborative charity single.
Yes,
and so
that's exactly what I'm speaking about.
Yeah. That was off the back of the Battle of Festival, which happened in let me get my dates now because I always get this. It was 1915 in France, and there was a man called Lance Corporal Donald Patterson from Beaulieu, and he played the pipes. And of course, as we know, the pipers were sent over first, and he was picked off by a sniper. And his pipes were then sent home, and they lay in the box for years and years. And they've still got the pipes have now been passed down through the family, but they've still got the bag covered in his blood, from then, which is it's unbelievable. But he was a big shinty man from Beaulieu as well. And so I wrote this tune called Our Heroes off the back of the story of the pipes. Yeah. And I wanted to get the pipes that he played that day on the track. And so that's what we did.
Yeah, I remember reading the story of it. It was a great story.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. And what I did was all the money for the track goes to Erskine, the veterans charity and hospital. So if you search for Our Heroes, or myself, my own name and Our Heroes, the track will come up. And as I say, still to this day, all the money goes to Erskine, and it's the track gets used in all their television programs and their adverts and their radio adverts and everything. So it's great. It's been really, really lovely, and it was a lovely project to work on with so many brilliant musicians too.
Yeah, because you were involved with mountain rescue and things. Am I right in saying that? Were you I was the fire service for 15 and a half years. Yeah. So. Well, as we all know, and same as some kind of Pitlochry and in Shetland and the smaller communities, then there's not a whole-time fire service, so it's not your day-to-day job. But what happens is you get paid for your call-outs and your training and things like that. And I did that in Speen Bridge for 15 and a half years, and absolutely loved it. It was amazing. And as part of that, I also joined the first responders, which I'm sure many of your listeners will understand what that is. But basically, again, living in a rural part, you used to get a mobile phone and a wee van and a defib and some oxygen and stuff, and you used to get called to everything the ambulance were called to. But naturally, because of the geographical location, you were there about 10 minutes or so before the ambulance. And again, there's some obviously the sort of darker side of all that, but some amazing stories. And I'll never forget actually getting called to a treble 9, and it was a lady who was 101 years old and she was unresponsive. That's what the call came in, So of course you're thinking to yourself, 101 years old, she's unresponsive. There's a very good chance that she's off to sleep, to meet the big fella. And so took the van way up, ran in the door to the address. And here is this lady's 96-year-old sister who was a nurse all her days. And I went in and she shouted, "Well, it's Gary Innes. How are you doing?" And I was saying, "Fine, fine." And of course, I'm looking around and I can see the older sister, the 101-year-old lady who's been phoned in as unresponsive. And she's sitting there with a cup of tea and she's like, "Well, how are you getting on? Have you come to give us a tune?" And of course, I'm saying, "Is everything okay?" And the sister says, "I'm really, really sorry. She fell asleep on the couch and I was just giving her a wee shake to try and wake her up and she wasn't waking up and I thought maybe the worst had happened. But no, she's brand new. Listen, I've just boiled the kettle. Would you like a cup of tea?" So, of course, I immediately phoned control and said, "Listen, the ambulance still has to attend, but like kind of cool the jets, as it were. The big red button that was pressed for a cardiac arrest has now been taken off the table. We're sitting having tea and sandwiches." So yeah, talking about tune. But the thing is that I'll let Ross describe this to you actually, because he's better at knowing the background. We support a charity just now on the show, and Ross, can you just tell Gary, because it ties in with that a wee bit, the helicopters.
Yeah, no, we had John Bullough, who's the chairman of Scotland's charity Air Ambulance, and that was fascinating to hear like how much ground a helicopter can cover. When you say about the roads and first responders, so a helicopter being there for a first responder is a great thing. So
we used to work really quite closely with the HeliMed and all that because of the fire service, especially on road traffic collisions in particular, because in the Highlands of Scotland, again, it's that kind of golden hour is critical, and getting somebody onto the table in front of who they need to be in front of is vitally important.
Yeah, I'm laughing. I shouldn't be doing it, but there's side comments coming up here. Who said Buckshee at some point? Did you say Buckshee? It started a debate offline. Somebody, what does buck she mean? And there's all these people putting in, means nothing.
Well, a buck. It's quite funny. So I was wondering if they're maybe talking about the shinty. So buck she is the half forward position, or buck she back would be the half back position in shinty. So I wondered if that's maybe what they're referring to.
That's what it'll be. That's what's going on there, then. That's great. Have you got another wee tune you fancy giving us? Anything at all would be super.
Sure, aye. It's quite nice to get the box out because it's been so long since I've actually had a tune.
It's fantastic. Actually, I'm very enjoying it. It's nice having you on tonight and letting folks see that, because they're so used to hearing you presenting and so hearing you interviewing, and it's nice for folk to hear a bit more about yourself and things. So
well, thank you so much for having me on. It's been great fun. What will I do?
I've got some more to speak to you about yet, if you're not in a hurry. But
listen, don't stress about that. What do you think, fast or slow?
Whatever you fancy, anything at all, sir.
Anything at all.
If you want to do an air or whatever you do, that's super.
I'll tell you what I'll do then. I'll do a wee local tune to Steam Bridge, a wee air, and this is called The Commando's View, and this is off the back of our primary school, Kilmaneevig, looked up to the Commando Monument, and there's a for everybody out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about, there's a monument in Spean Bridge called the Commando Monument at the top of the hill that looks over the grey corries, and during the Second World War in particular, that's where the commandos trained, that they went off around the world and everything. And this wee tune is called The Commando's View, and actually when we used to play kind of sport and run about the primary school field, we used to look up and you'd see the commandos looking back down at you. So hopefully you enjoy this one.
Ah,
There
yeah.
we are.
Lovely.
Beauty. Absolutely beautiful. Never heard that before.
Have you been to that monument up there? I know I have a few times. The viewpoint you get from up there is absolutely. I was with you there when you were playing. I could see all these beautiful, beautiful views up there.
Yeah, it's a special part in the world for sure, you know, and I say that view in particular down the Grey Corries and down the Glen, it is just gorgeous altogether.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. I used to play in Roy Bridge in the hotel quite a bit sometimes, and we used to pass it on the way up, and that was always something.
Yeah,
you knew what you were when you saw it.
Special.
Really good. But Ross, have you got something?
I was going to say it feels like years ago now, but I actually met you years ago, Gary, back in about I think it was 2005, but it might have been 2004, and it was at a phage in a Characon, and it was the first time I was living in Skye at the time, and it was the first time I'd ever been part of anything like that, teaching kids through the day, and then I think it was the Whiskey Olympics at night or something. I can't remember what the name is, but it was. I think it was 2000. It was at Struntine on a Characon round about there. But I remember I took a lot back because that was the first time I'd seen anything like that. I've been part of anything like that. But to mention you and Robertson's name, because I know you've recorded stuff with him not that long ago as well. But going back to then, when I suppose you mentioned you're 40, I'm a little bit older than that, but you're just young. You think you're younger actually than you think you are when you look back. You're just young fellas back then. But to see the musical career yourself and Ewan's had from then, and to think all the young people that's had that tuition over the years, it's been top-notch stuff. It's been brilliant.
Well, thanks to see that. Harrickle in particular, as you know, Ross, is a special old place down there, and the nonsense over the years with the fish and the dances and just everything all together. You know, the people right down sort of Harrickle, Moidart, and you know all the sort of Fergies and Robert Nairns, and you know produce so many great musicians and people like that too. It's terrific.
I liked Ross's story about Fergie's Hotel. What Fergie told him.
I think I was around about the same sort of time. We were in there, sitting there, and he came through and he says, "This isn't a 3-star hotel." He says, "Not even a 2-star hotel." He says, "It's a 1-star hotel, and that's me."
There we go. Typical Fergie.
Oh, he's an absolute legend.
He's got the MBE. Fantastic. Just brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, he's just over the moon with it too, which is great, and you know, and richly deserved. Over 70 years performing and playing, you know, that deserves a medal for sure.
We were playing at Mull Festival once with the Fustra years ago when I played with the Fustra, and Fergie must have thought I was the piano player in the band, not the box player, and he said, "Would you come up and play piano with us? Our piano player's not here or something." And I can play piano as well, so I just said, "Yeah, no bother." So I went up and he called me the piano player's name. From then on to this day, I've been known as Derek. But I'm not. But he couldn't get round that I could play the accordion and the piano. That wasn't allowed. So.
Yeah. Oh, he's amazing. I mean, the stories we could spend the next hour talking of stories of hanging out with Fergie and the nonsense that just seem to happen when you're in his company, you know, and the things that happen. It's just
we got on the stage there in the Mishnish, crammed in, and there was a banjo fellow playing with him. I think it was an Irish chap, right? He was playing, and he just as Fergie comes onto the stage last, the guy turned around to me and says, "You've never played with Fergie before, have you?" And I said, "No." And he says, "Right, hold your breath." And I said, "What?" and for some reason, Fergie was going through this notion that he had to put talcum powder onto his hands to stop his fingers slipping. And he got on stage, he got this talcum powder, and it went whoosh, and it went everywhere. You know, the whole band was like a Christmas card. You know, and the guy turned around to me and said, "I told you to hold your breath, didn't I?" Oh, man, what a mess! But anyway, back to you. The broadcasting, obviously now you've got a huge job in Take the Floor and your own show now. You've got, and you were even an Off the Ball one day. My goodness.
Yeah, I've been a guest maybe 3 or 4 times now and Off the Ball over the years, and it's always great great fun with Tam and Stuart.
My wife Karen just sits and giggles at the two of them. She just thinks they're hilarious.
There's something else. They're so witty and fast. They're amazing at what they do.
It's a show you can watch. It's a show you can listen to even if you don't particularly like football. You can just listen to.
Yeah.
I've got no interest in football whatsoever, but I really miss it if I can help it anyway, because you just laugh all the way through, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, how did the Take the Floor job come about? How did this happen?
Do you know, it's a really funny one, because Jennifer had asked me a couple of times before if I could step in and just cover, when Robbie was on holiday or whatever else, and it never worked out. And I did Travelling Folk once or maybe twice for Bruce when he was away. And, another couple of years would go by and nothing, no phone calls, whatever else. And just this day, Jennifer said, listen, Robbie's on holiday next Saturday, wondering if you could maybe come in and, do a pre-record on next Wednesday up in Aberdeen. And I was like, oh, I'm free, brilliant. And I was dead excited because, as I say, this was third or fourth time she'd asked over the years, and I'd actually not managed to do it. So went through to Aberdeen and recorded the first one. And then she said, what are you doing next week? And I said, well, no, I'm pretty clear, And she said, well, Robbie's actually going to be off for 2 weeks. And what wasn't getting said at that point was poor Esma, his wife, had been keeping unwell, and she'd been in hospital, and Robbie was at her kind of beck and call and looking after her. And so I did the following week, and then they said, now listen, we've had a chat, and in 3-4 months' time, Robbie's going to hang up the headphones when he turns 80. And so would you be interested in auditioning for a pilot episode? We're not really sure how we're gonna do the program just yet. We're thinking of getting a kind of a pool of presenters, and because we understand we can't pin one person down to doing it all the time. So they were talking about maybe you would just present one day out, once a week, and then next week it would be somebody else, and then someone else, and then back to you again. And so that was fine. I got my pilot episode, and they gave me, say, 6 links to go and kind of mock up something and then go and deliver it. So I did that, and I knew a few other pals that were also asked to do it, and they were in. And of course, we were all quite excited, going, well, we'll make the team, we'll make the cut, that kind of thing. And and then I'll never forget when Helen and Jennifer said, so on Tuesday, sort of come and meet the team, as it were, and that was it, and went in, and it was just me. And they said, well, this is it. We're just going to go with yourself if you're up for it. And because it's a pre-record, it's brilliant, because, for instance, if I'm away on tour with Manon, then we can sometimes pre-record a couple of weeks in advance, or for holidays and bits and pieces. If it was live on a Saturday night, then I couldn't have done the job. I could have this year, of course, but in previous year.
Well, but no, you couldn't have, because there's no bands this year.
That's true.
It wouldn't have been good this year either.
Loads of archive sessions.
Yeah, but no, yeah. So it worked into your schedule, and you could work it that way. And of course, it was an enormous step to take when going in and hint somebody like Robbie, because that's hard. He's been there for so long, and that voice, etc., and whatever. But you've tackled it, and you've gone for it, and it's about 4 or 5 years has passed already, haven't they?
Well, that's an incredible thing. Come this September, that'll be 5 years. Yeah. And and it's so funny, because some people, we're even saying that, and both you guys shook your head. I'm exactly the same. I still can't believe it's been over nearly 4.5 years now. And I remember when in particular, when I was asked to do the job, and it was just myself, I was worried, because my job is to play music, and I'm thinking, well, if people don't like me on the radio, or I've ruined this program that they've cherished and loved and grown up with, and generations have grown up with it, then that'll have an impact on people coming along to shows too, because they'll say, oh, I'm not listening, I don't like that boy, so they won't even listen to the music, for instance. So there was a kind of worry at the start of going, I'm not really sure this is, it could basically go either way, and thankfully it went in the right direction for me, and it's actually had the nice effect that people have turned up to listen to my music who haven't actually heard me playing, but because they listened to the show. So that's been wonderful.
And
it must, a Floor liked it. I think it's the longest radio show in BBC Scotland, Radio Scotland. Is that right? The longest show. So
It's the longest running show, and Robbie himself was there for 35 years at the helm, so it's a long time.
You'll have 101-year-old women falling asleep in the living rooms all over the country. Eh?
I hope so.
Just to Steve Gary, you'll get 70-year-olds, I reckon.
Even tonight on your request, we had 2 100-year-old birthday requests in, which was just magic, I think the really lovely thing as well is, having moved to the village last number of weeks, is people have been writing letters and just putting my name, courtesy of the post office, Tonight. And, of course, I'm getting this mail, and it's coming from all over the world, and people just writing to say how much they love the show, and, good luck with the move, happy Christmas, happy birthday. It's just amazing. And to have that connection with people that you're coming into their homes and their family lives at a really important time, a Sunday family evening meal time is really, really lovely.
Well, you've cracked it when Fergie's even written a song about you.
That's right.
There's no escaping then, is there?
Oh, that's
I noticed in my side comments that you showed him McFadden, the fiddle players, just said, Gary, have you watched The Sound of Music yet? So you must know something about that.
It's still on my to-do list.
Brilliant. So, yeah, you've had many, because I remember we had Bruce on a wee while ago, McGregor as well, doing the show one night, and he done a couple of Take the Floors, and he actually done a outside one up here with me with the Foostrop, and I was playing with the Foostrop in Shetland, and he was saying it was quite hard. He found it hard to follow Robbie because he went, I think he said Stirling or somewhere, and he walked out to do this live one, and the audience were expecting Robbie to be there, and it was Bruce, and he said, "Oh, here's our guest presenter tonight," and he said it was just like, oh no. It's quite hard,
Well, you think back yourself, and in particular the show, I mean, most people, certainly when I grew up, they didn't call it Take the Floor. It was always, I'm waiting to put Robbie Shepherd on, or, get Robbie Shepherd on. He was actually, his name was so synonymous with the show that when you said Take the Floor, people were like, oh, Robbie Shepherd, aye, we'll listen.
I remember the 2016 Trad Awards, I think you were there that night, because I think Take the Floor won the award that night, did you not?
Trad in the media that year.
Because we'd been nominated for the dance band section that year, and we went down and had a night out, and Robbie, remember, they gave him a special award, and it was incredibly touching, because it was the first time I'd seen him, and he's an old man now, and he walked up there, and the whole place, he got a standing ovation, and Karen, my wife, was with me as well, and it was really touching to see him so appreciated by everybody across the traditional folk genres. Everybody there respected him. It was nice to see,
Well, again, there's very few people really out there left of that kind of age and ilk that are still, so mobile and so on the go, that have given so much to traditional music, through the good times, the bad times, and indifferent, and Robbie very much took the time to handwrite letters back to anybody who ever wrote into him at Take the Floor. He used to spend days and days writing letters back to them, and then off they'd go, long before emails and things like that. But, even when you hear that, you're like, just, the man's a legend, absolute legend.
And he even helped keep McCallum in business as well.
He did a very, very good job of that, I believe, yes.
Yeah. When it came to Macallan whiskey, the shares went up quite a lot, I think.
Aye, for a wee man, you could hold quite a lot.
No, but it's fantastic to see you doing successfully in the job. You're doing great with everything.
Thank you.
You've got the family there now. You're going to be in Tainout. Sounds idyllic. Sounds great.
Oh,
and can you do Take the Floor for the house when you're up in Tainout eventually then?
That's what I've been doing all the weeks. Tonight, the live show as well. I just pop into my wardrobe and literally dampen it down and away I go.
Ah, magic. Well, we had Alan Henderson on, and he was up in his loft in Uist that night, and halfway through he had to stop and go down and tell the kids to get off the internet. The kids got chucked off the internet and back he came. So he's a character. You fancy giving us a wee set of tunes before we finish tonight, Gary? It's been absolutely fantastic speaking to you.
Honestly, Peter, it's been great, and thank you so much for having me on. A real pleasure, and well done to you boys as well. I don't think there's enough praise is getting put about just now for how many people like yourselves have gone above and beyond to put music out and keep people entertained when they're stuck in their home. So well done to you lads. You boys deserve a medal yourselves.
Well, anyway, and anything we can do to help advertise any of the Man Run stuff or your own stuff, anything like that, you'll let us know, and we'll pop it all into our sites and all that as well, and do that.
Thank you very much. Well, just on a wee quick side note, we start the School of Man Run, it's called, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock tomorrow, throughout the month of January, because we know lots of kids are at home and stuck. One member of the band each day is going to give a free lesson on our YouTube channel at Manran TV. So from tomorrow, I'm doing a box lesson between 3:30 and 4, and then on Tuesday, I think it's you and Gaelic Song McKim, and Wednesday, and so on. So if that sounds like appealing, or you've got any children, or you're an adult and you want to get a wee lesson, then we'll be live each day throughout the month of January.
Fantastic. Brilliant idea. If you could, have you got an advert, obviously. Sorry, Ross.
Sorry, is that available on catch up on YouTube?
It will be once it's been played. You can jump back on and watch it again and again. It's just it'll be going out live at that point. Yeah, just to interact and have a wee chat and maybe ask some questions and things like that at that point.
Well, if you've got a link for that, if you file that over to us, we'll.
That's no bother at all.
We shall fire it onto ours as well and let folk get on with it. That'd be brilliant.
Great.
Thank you. What do you fancy? Something you like yourself? Go for it.
I'm thinking, because it feels so nice just to have the box on and have a tune, and playing all these tunes that literally have not played in a year now. But since we've talked quite a lot of Fergie tonight, how about I give you one of his and a couple of tunes, and we finish with a tune actually called Josie's Well, a wee tune all about whiskey after our chat about Macallan and Robbie as well. Hopefully that'll all tie it in quite nicely.
Fantastic.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. I'll speak to you before you go.
Okay.
Ross, do you see how Gary smiles when he's playing?
I know. I don't have any facial expression at all. We had Ross Miller, the piper, on a few weeks ago, and he's full of life when he's playing. I just can't do it. I've tried. It doesn't work.
So Gary, if you can make one of your Man Ran videos, how to smile when playing, I'll make sure Ross watches it.
I'll tune in.
That's something about for sure.
Thank you so much. Just brilliant. It's been a pleasure having you on, and it's really nice to see that. Let all the folk out there see that everybody's just real people, that we're just musicians. We're nearly normal.
Nearly.
I did say nearly. But I think it's been great fun.
Once the keeper gets a hold of us, we're in bother.
But listen, all the best to you. Thanks for coming on, giving up some of your Sunday night here, and anything we can do to help out with the band and promoting stuff, you'll please just always get in touch with us.
Thank you very much.
And we'll do that, no bother at all. Ross, I always say, have you got anything nice to say to Gary?
Absolutely. Thanks again. Just echo what Peter said, and it's great. And for a lot of people, actually, it's putting a face to the name as well. So brilliant, and an ear to the name with your music. Thanks very much for sharing that.
Honestly, lad, any time at all, just shout away.
Yeah, brilliant. Gary, away and pour yourself a wee dram.
Oh, yeah, beauty.
See you after. Thanks, man. Thank you. Say. Oh, wow.
Cracking, eh?
What a magic night. That really has been a joy tonight. That's been an absolute joy.
Really, really good. And in Thomas and the Isle of Man, I had no idea of the traditions there. Fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really do hope you've enjoyed yourself. Mrs. Wood, are you back there? Are you coming on to say good night to everyone? She said, no. She must have her jammies on already. That's what it is. That's it. Anyway, listen, folks, thank you so much out there. That's been a brilliant show. Two interesting guests, both different things to tell us that I never knew about, which is... I meant to ask Gary who wrote that last tune that he played, actually, because that was a cracker.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get it and we'll put it up. Mm-hmm.
We'll find out. Mm-hmm. So, folks, I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you can always go back and watch it, if you didn't get a chance to watch it right through or anything. I hope you're all staying safe out there and taking the best care of each other that you can. I saw there was a lady, Vi Todd, was on earlier there. I saw had a comment on, Vi said that Milner thought, and Persia, she'd never seen it so busy, and I don't know if that's really what we're wanting to hear. But anyway, you take care out there, folks. I'm back to remote teaching this week with the school, so you the same? Yeah, just the same.
Same with me.
Hopefully the old internet holds out for however many thousand people using it.
I know.
But it's been great. That's been great. All I can say is thank you to Tomas, Callister and Gary Innes tonight. That really has been magic.
Fantastic, yes, really good.
Anything else you want to tailor off tonight with?
No, I think we've covered a lot of stuff in the show. That's been a long show. I've seen a couple of names on there tonight: John Selby and Harry Duncan. Good to see the long friends of the show. So good to see the, especially Harry, who I know was slightly unwell.
Yeah, good to see him back. Good to see him back. Anyway, folks, thank you very, very much. Thanks to Karen backstage for holding it all together again. That's been wonderful. And we'll see you on Wednesday night. And I've got some really interesting guests for you next week as well.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out for us on Wednesday at 8:30. Mm-hmm. And it's good night from me.
And a good night from him.